Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number, 202, would you believe? So for those people who don't watch my channel, we are doing our second lot of reruns. So we reran the first 100 weeks, so we had, weeks 100 to 200, and now we're rerunning them again. So what are we making this week? We're making fold out flip outs, fold out flips for your junk journals. So how do you make these and what do you need? If you're wanting to mass make along with us today, you're just going to need some scissors and you're going to need some paper. I mean, that's literally all you're going to need. If you want to use a bone folder, that's optional. If you want to use a scoreboard or a paper trimmer, again, that's optional. I'm not going to use those things. I'm just going to use my scissor handles for the, the squishing down rather than a bone folder. And I'm just going to cut with my scissors. So if you want those additional tools, then of course bring those along. Right, now talk about paper. So the paper that I've brought along, I've brought digitals along. And again, I do say this every week. That's because that's what I predominantly have these days. You don't have to bring digitals. You can bring, scrapbook paper. You could use anything you like. I mean, you could use book pages and things, but know that you're going to have to then, put something inside your flip outs if you're wanting to, have journaling surfaces. If you're using, like me, if you're using digitals or if you're using scrapbook paper, which is single-sided, you may want to coffee dye the back. So I've got my little cup here of my just literally black coffee that I can actually kind of like paint the backs to coffee, coffee stain them. Again, that's just because I don't really like them just, glaring white. So, that's an optional step. You may want to have another optional thing is just some distress ink and a blendy tool. But they're all optional things. The only thing you're really going to actually need is your scissors and your paper. Now my paper is 230 GSM, so it's pretty thick. Again, you can use thinner paper. Let me just see if I've got some behind me. So I've got some thinner paper here, which, we could make some from. Let me just put in some others because some are going to lend themselves better, to what we're making rather than others. So this is 110 GSM. So again, it's not as thin as copy paper. It's, it's thicker than copy paper, but it's not, it's not a sort of card. It's definitely a paper. If I was making using paper, so, this thickness, I personally would use these as tuck-ins, to put into pockets and things. If I wanted these fold out flips to actually glue into a journal, that's when I would use my thicker paper. Again, that's just personal preference, and you can obviously, use whatever and, whichever way you want. But that would be my personal preference. And then another sort of optional, extra really would be you can either bring along some sort of baker's twine or ribbon or something like that, or Velcro pieces or something to hold your pieces closed. Or what we will probably use is like some little fussy cut shapes that hold the flips shut, and you'll see when we get kind of making them. Again, that's an optional extra. What I will probably do is make my basic pieces and I won't add closures because I will save that for when I come to use them, so that will be the piece, that kind of ties it into my, my complete project. And again, you'll see that once we get making. So how do we make them? Let's get moving these papers out the way and just make one or two. So, well, make one or two to show you, and then we will mass make, and relax and have a nice time. So this is a new paper of mine, which I'm working on right now. It is complete, but I just need to, create my thumbnails and all of that kind of stuff, which actually takes really quite a long time to do all of those things. So I'm hoping that this will be up there within the next day or two. It may even be up there now, but, it will definitely be there, within the next kind of day or two. So just going to cut it down because my printer has, misbehaved when it was sucking it through. I've set it to borderless. And as you can see, it's kind of like, taking it through in a wonky kind of fashion. So I'm just going to cut that down like that. Okay. Now I'm going to cut my paper generally in half-ish. Now, when I say in half-ish, obviously this is A4 paper. I have cut off a sliver because it had not printed borderless. And that's why I'm saying in half-ish. This piece I could do in half because this is already a smaller piece of paper. If I was using the entire piece of paper, I'd just move over slightly. And the reason being, if you're gluing these in, they're just going to be the entire width of the page if you use the paper completely at its width, if that makes sense. So I know it sounded very, you know, very waffly even by my own ears, so I do apologise. So I just like to squish my paper down with my scissor handles, and then I like to just cut along that fold line, you know, as close or not as close as you like, but that's what I use as my guide to get a reasonably straight line. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's reasonable. Okay, so then you're just going to need, you know, your singular piece. Now I may make some pieces with this as well, and then we could get 2 out of 1 sheet of paper. But literally all you're doing is you're going to just fold your bottom piece up like that, and then your top piece down. And you'll notice that I started by folding the paper. So if you're looking at the paper, you're folding your top is going to become your bottom, if that makes sense. Because that way, if you've got a directional pattern, obviously this is a directional pattern, you know, you've got the perfume bottles and things. If it's not directional, obviously it doesn't matter which way you do it. But if it's directional and it's going to matter what way up your pieces are, that's the way to do it. And then just squish this down again with my scissor handles. And this is the point where, you know, you can see it's overhanging. I can just trim this down now, you know, so it's neat and tidy like that. And then, oh, another optional extra. Sorry, I'm a bit shambolic on the endless lists of extras that you may or may not want. So another little optional extra, and you know, this really is optional. You may want to have a corner rounder just to, you know, add a bit of interest to your flip outs. Now, again, up to you. You know, you may want to just round the bottom corners, for example. You may want to round all of the corners. Oops, and even round the corners on your flap. Completely and utterly up to you. So we'll do all of them, you know, including the flap here. So like that. Oops, not do that very well. Okay, just try and improve that. I'm not doing a very good job. I swear I've not cut it very straight, but anyway, it looks okay. And that's literally all there is to these. And then of course, you know, you may or may not want to ink it. Like I say, I'm not ink, you know, coffee dye. I'm going to coffee dye mine just because I don't really like that white, you know, that white look. But I mean, if the white doesn't really bother you, then you can obviously, you know, bypass this step. If you're using the book page or anything like that, then it's going to be like an essential thing for you to actually, you know, put some sort of paper in here for journaling space. If, however, you're using, you know, plain paper like this, then to be honest, it's optional. You could, you know, include like a little flippy pad in here. You could, you know, glue some plain paper, you know, for example, this you could glue down. It's completely up to you. But I mean, if your piece of paper is plain anyway, what you could do is just make all of your basic pieces like this and then just save them for when you come to use them and then decide, do you want to add anything else? So that's literally all there is to these. And then you may want to add like, you know, a little closure or something like that. And again, I will show you kind of in more detail when we come to actually decorate this, how you'd add a closure, like, you know, with a paper piece. But if you weren't using a paper piece, and for example, let me just pull in, if you're using, you know, for example, some baker's twine, you could just tie that round, tie it into a bow, and then just, you know, glue it down on the back of your piece, so along here. Or what you may want to do is tie your baker's twine round, keep it like that, you know, so just cut that down, keep it like that, but not glue it down. And that way you've got the option of when you come to use this, you may think, oh, baker's twine doesn't really suit this project, you know, doesn't suit this journal. I'll swap the baker's twine out for, you know, for ribbon or for sari silk or something like that. You know, it kind of gives you option, but if you, or options, but if you keep your baker's twine, you know, ready tied round here, it's all essentially ready to go. You know, you've got all of your pieces that you're using all there ready. So, you know, that's just kind of an optional way to do it, really. So I'm just going to show you one more time how to make them. Obviously, like I say, they're, you know, they're the simplest thing on the planet to make. So, you know, you're just literally taking a piece of paper and folding it effectively. I'm going to have to trim this down because, again, where my printer didn't really print fully borderless, it just sucked it through wonky. So I've cut that bottom bit down to kind of get it a bit straighter. Well, not straighter, cut the border off. It's actually wonkier. So again, just going to take my bottom flap, fold that down, my top flap, fold that down like that. And then again, you know, anywhere where it needs trimming, I think it's easiest just to trim it once it's all folded in, because then you can just get it completely, you know, in line with like the flap. So, you know, it's up to you again how you do it, whether you wanted to get yours perfectly straight in the first place. But I think it's probably better to get it straight afterwards, because you may fold it slightly wonky or anything, and then, you know, your folding's going to kind of mess up your straight edges anyway. And that's it. And then, you know, for example, this one, perhaps we'll just round the corners of the flap, but not round, not round the actual corners of the piece itself. Or you could just, you know, just do those corners. It's completely up to you. So again, I will just coffee dye this one, just so as you know, it's then completely ready to be used in my project. And the other thing is, you know, these are great because they can be used portrait or they can be used landscape. So obviously the couple that I've done, you know, I would kind of use these landscape because of course they've got a directional paper. So, you know, I'd glue them down on 3 sides in a journal and, you know, pop stuff in the top of them. If it was a, you know, non-directional paper, you could have it as a flip out like this. So, you know, they're quite a nice versatile one, aren't they? If your paper goes a little bit crinkly because of the coffee dyeing or anything, just, you know, just iron it after it's dry. So, you know, again, kind of all very easy to do after the event, really. So obviously I don't really need to demonstrate them anymore. They are like the simplest thing on the planet to make. So yeah, let's just kind of relax and get mass making them. And when I mass make, I always do the assembly line style. So by that I mean I'm just going to take all of my papers and do all of the stages, you know, at once. So for example, you know, I will cut all of my border edges off, and then I will, you know, do all of the folding, then I will do all of the coffee dyeing, you know, all of the corner rounding, all at the same stages. So, you know, then it's, you know, productive and efficient. I will do a couple in the paper, you know, just to sort of demonstrate, you know, how they look, I suppose. You know, I mean, obviously they look the same, but what I'm saying is I would probably use the paper ones in pockets rather than glued in pieces. So, you know, that's just personal, you know, personal choice. So I'm just going to get a few papers here. I mean, obviously these are very, very, very quick to make. So I think we're going to get, you know, quite a lot of these made. Just picking some papers from my papers that I printed off. So yeah, I've printed quite a, hopefully quite, you know, quite a variety of different things, so that we're going to have lots of different looks. So just quickly, yeah, just quickly take them in. Whoops. Okay, right, have I got any others? Oh, I have got some of my documents. Do I want any with the documents? Well, I guess we could. Right, okay, so let me move that out of the way. So I'm going to start by chopping my pieces down. So just chopping off the, you know, the border edges like that. I'm not even going to chop the actual edges off yet. I'll do that after I've done the folding, because, you know, it might be that sort of it's wonky, and so that won't come to light until I've actually folded them up. So I'll just chop all of my border edges. Obviously this is not a stage you need to do if yours is already printed borderless, or for example scrapbook paper that's not got a border around it. So like that. Okay, so yeah, let's just kind of relax now and have a nice time, have a catch up, and yeah, just kind of generally have a hopefully productive and fun hour hanging out together. So yeah, so I'm filming this on the Monday. If you watch my channel, you'll know that I always film these on the Monday, ready to go up for you guys on the Tuesday. It's such a gorgeous day today. I mean, it is very, very, very cold. When I got up this morning, I went to the gym. It was 1.5 degrees. So it was very, very chilly. And I got back from the gym, and you know, like those days where then you just cannot warm up again. So, I mean, I'm actually filming this a little bit late. It's about 11:15 now. Whereas normally I would have started filming hopefully by about 9:15. But I had a few things I had to do straight away, you know, before I could get working. And yeah, just really cold. I just could not get warm. So I've just got my couple of jumpers on. I probably could have done with putting like my onesie on as well over the top of my clothes, but it's in the wash at the moment. So, well, it's in the machine, so I'll have to get it out in a minute and try and get it dry ready for tonight. But yeah, it's really cold. And you know, like when you just get very cold, sometimes you just can't then warm back up. That's kind of how I'm feeling today. I'm just like, oh, really, really, really cold. But that being said, it's so bright and sunny out there, and I love, 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 you know, those bright, sunny, crisp days. Because, I mean, if you watch my channel, you know, we've had endless amounts of rain for weeks and weeks now. So, yeah, I mean, definitely I'll take this over the, you know, the drab, raining, much more mild days. I mean, sometimes the temperatures were up to about 12 degrees, but oh, so depressing, all that rain, and everywhere, you know, was just getting so flooded and waterlogged. But yeah, I mean, today, beautiful, beautiful weather, but really, really cold. So you just wouldn't want to be hanging outside too much. But yeah, so I will tell you the papers that I'm using as I go as well. So yeah, right. So I'm going to now just take my papers and start folding them in and cutting them like in half, basically. So I'm just going to, oh, look, it's got some coffee dye on it now. I'm just going to, yeah, start taking them and folding them in like this. Okie dokie. In fact, I might as well do all my folds and then all of my cutting in half. So these are, again, these are from my new, I don't know whether they're going to be called perfume or, you know, fragrance, or, yeah, I'm not sure. Or eau de parfum maybe, or something like that, although then I'll always struggle to pronounce that. But they're hopefully going to be in my shop, you know, within the next couple of days. So this is my clocks collection of papers. So yeah, and so's this, and so's this one. What have I been up to? Well, I had the most lovely, lovely, lovely weekend. Yeah, I went and stayed with some really, really, really old friends of, they were actually friends of mine and my ex-husband's, and I haven't seen them since before lockdown. You know, I mean, he's not in touch with them at all now. This is, you know, some more from that new perfume collection of papers. Yeah, he's not in touch with them at all, but I haven't seen them since lockdown for a combination of reasons. This is my Victorian scrapbook paper, and so is this. Because they don't really live locally to us, they live, it was about an hour and 50 minutes before, so nearly 2 hours away. But they have improved the road quite a bit. They've put like a sort of new bypass in and things like that. So actually it only took me an hour and 40 minutes, which, I mean, 10 minutes is, you know, it's 10 minutes, isn't it? So it didn't really seem so far. This is my shabby chic collection, and so is this one. Anyway, yeah, so I went to stay with them, and I went up there on Friday afternoon. This is my rich damask collection papers, and so's this one. Went up there on Friday afternoon, and yep, stayed Friday night and Saturday night, and then I came back yesterday afternoon. And it sounds really weird, but yeah, we haven't really seen each other. You know, obviously we've been in contact, you know, on Messenger and FaceTime and all of that stuff. This is my butterflies collection papers, and so are these. And all of these are obviously available in my Etsy shop. So yeah, so we haven't been in contact. Well, we've been in contact, haven't been in physical contact, for a combination of things, really. This is also the butterfly collection, and this is the documents collection of papers. So just quickly take those. And then this one also is the documents, but this is the one that I've done on paper rather than this thicker, you know, thicker card / paper. So I'm just going to take this one in and just fold this in. I mean, to be honest, could even maybe do this into 3 and get 3 of these, although maybe not. They might be a bit too, yeah, a bit too big. So I'll do it just in half. So I'm just going to now cut these all down. So I'll cut this over just in case, you know, this went in landscape. It's got to be narrower than the page. I don't think I would put this in, but yeah. Right, obviously I needed to make that smaller as well, because if it's put, you know, put into a pocket, it wants to be a bit smaller, really. So I'll just cut all of these in half. Yeah, we haven't really kind of seen each other for a combination of reasons. They've got 2 children. They've actually got twins. Obviously I've got 3 children, but our children are, you know, are different ages. So theirs are 15, and obviously mine are, you know, 21, 17 and 10. Which, I mean, to be honest, when they were younger, you know, the 21-year-old and the 17-year-old used to play, you know, fine, obviously, with the 15-year-old. And then, to be honest, it got to a point where kind of like that age gap was that difficult sort of age gap, you know. So they weren't necessarily kind of at the same, you know, the same stage and wanting to, you know, be doing the same sort of things. And so I guess, like all these things, you know, they probably would have thought, oh, you know, oh no, because, you know, my kids were then maybe out and, you know, things like that. And so their kids would have been, you know, if they'd have come to visit, their kids would have been here bored with nothing to do. And, you know, of course, they wouldn't then want to be necessarily playing with my daughter, who's obviously much younger than them. You know, so it became sort of a bit difficult. Plus, obviously, there'd been lockdown. So I think we were saying, you know, when did we last see each other? And we said, you know, we arranged to see each other like midway in the lockdowns. So there was one lockdown. We arranged to, you know, for them to come and stay. And then there was another lockdown. So we had to cancel it because they were due to come and stay. And then there was another lockdown hit. And then, you know, since then, obviously, you know, my husband and I split up and things like that. And, you know, to be honest, I know this sounds just really crazy and weird, but I just kind of lost confidence. And, well, not lost confidence. I wouldn't have ever had the confidence to just go there on my own anyway. Because I'm, you know, I'm not really like that, to be honest. So, you know, the thought of driving almost 2 hours on my own, you know, without children or, you know, husband or anything like that, that's just something I've never really done before. So, you know, I know there's obviously lots of independent ladies and, you know, wow, hats off to you, you know, that's amazing. But, you know, I just hadn't really ever done that. And so, you know, for a long time, I'd sort of, you know, when we'd FaceTimed and things, I'd say, oh, you know, must get together, I'll come up. Because, I mean, obviously their children now being 15, they're too young to, like, leave them at home for the weekend on their own. But obviously too old to want to just come and, like, you know, sit around bored, kind of listening to us, you know, us adults chatting. So it was that I had to really go to their house. And, yeah, I just kind of wouldn't have really had the confidence to do it. Anyway, so we messaged a bit during Christmas and New Year. You know, my friend said, oh, you know, I miss you. And, you know, I really miss them because they were, you know, they're like my best, oldest friends. And, you know, those just people who, you know, we've known each other for like 25 years. I mean, actually, the 4 of us, my ex-husband, myself and them, we all met in the workplace, you know, I mean, longer actually than 25 years ago. And, you know, we've had holidays together and, you know, proper know each other, you know, like, yeah, you know, those kind of really special friendships that, you know, just come along kind of like very, very rarely. They're one of those friendships. And, you know, so I really do miss them. And yeah, so we were messaging and I said, well, you know, perhaps I could come up really, you know, really soon. So, you know, she said, oh, that would be lovely, you know, be lovely to see you. So I arranged it for like the next time that my daughter was going to be, you know, with her dad. Oh, this just got this edge where it's gone through the printer and there's some dirty marks. So I'll have to cut that edge off now. So, yeah, arranged it for the next time, you know, my daughter was going to be at her dad's for the weekend, you know, so that I could go up. So obviously it got to Friday and I felt really anxious and really nervous about going because I don't know why, but yeah, just everything really, because I don't know, it just felt obviously really alien to be going on my own, you know, like with no children, no anybody, you know, just me. And just, you know, it felt like quite a long way. Obviously I was going to miss the dog. I mean, obviously my son was here, you know, with Bo. So that was fine. So it wasn't like I didn't have anyone to look after her. But yeah, just kind of, I did feel a bit nervous. And obviously I felt a bit nervous because I thought, oh, it's just going to be me. You know, I wonder if they're going to just, you know, I'm going to feel like a bit of an intruder kind of thing. Like, you know, I mean, obviously it's not like they're newlyweds or anything like that. So, you know, that's all fine. And like I say, we know each other so well. But, you know, I just thought, oh, am I going to feel a bit like a, you know, a spare part kind of thing? Well, I needn't have worried because they're such lovely people. And it just instantly, it just felt like, you know, no time had passed since we last saw each other. You know, I mean, we kind of said, you know, it must have been like about 3.5 years since we last saw one another, maybe 4 years, which is ages, isn't it? But honestly, felt like, you know, felt like I saw them a couple of months ago. You know, I do really kind of like feel like they're almost like family, but, you know, like my friend said, you know, even better than family, really. It was just so lovely. And yeah, so I got there Friday, you know, obviously later afternoon by the time I arrived there. And, you know, I went during the afternoon because I don't like driving in the dark. So obviously I wanted to avoid driving in the dark. And then, yeah, so I got there, oh, I don't know, about just gone 4 o'clock really, maybe 4:30, something like that. And we had a Chinese takeaway on the Friday night, so that was really nice. And then, yeah, kind of like just stayed up chatting. And then Saturday, we were just kind of chatting all morning. Just went out to their local Costa, had a Costa, and then just, you know, came home, you know, just had like some dinner. And this lady, you know, I hope they won't mind me saying their names, but yeah, Neil and Jan, their names are. So Jan, she is the one who got me into crafting. So she is the lady who, you know, when I was pregnant, actually, with my youngest son, I think, because that was like 20 years ago, she used to do card making. And I used to feel a bit envious, you know, like when I'd see her and think, oh, I wish I could do that. I don't know why I felt I couldn't, but, you know, yeah, I kind of used to think, oh, you know, I'd love to have a go at that. And then eventually she was kind of like, well, have a go at it, you know. So she encouraged me to have a go at it. And she taught me loads of things. She's very, you know, inquisitive mind. So she always kind of like, you know, whenever I would see her, she would have new tools and new techniques and all this stuff that she had found out about, and she would teach me. And yeah, just, you know, and we used to shop endlessly, like for crafting stuff, because obviously we were new crafters. So I mean, we had no supplies, so, you know, we had to buy a lot of stuff, you know, so that we could be enjoying our hobby, you know, to the fullest. Yeah, we laughed about it, you know, this weekend and said, oh my goodness, do you remember, like, you know, we'd go in the shop and we'd like spend, oh my goodness, like £100 and things, you know. And actually you'd get hardly anything because crafting is very expensive, isn't it? So, you know, you'd come out with hardly anything for your £100. And that was obviously, you know, that was kind of like 18 years ago and things. So yeah, terrible. But yeah, so what was quite funny is because, you know, she said she's been in a crafty slump for a long time, and she, you know, she doesn't really craft particularly anymore. She'd moved away from paper crafting a bit anyway, you know, in recent years, and kind of gone more onto knitting and crochet and things. Now, that's not my bag. at all. So yeah, I didn't join her in that. And obviously, you know, now I feel like I've hit my thing that I love doing, is the junk journals. But yeah, she said she's kind of hit a bit of a crafty slump, and you know, she's just not really crafting anymore. You know, which is so sad, isn't it? Because I mean, she loved crafting, and you know, she's very talented, very creative, and you know, very, very different styles we have. You know, she's much more what's the word, precise. You know, she's much more precise with her what's the word, not precision, because that's weird, isn't it, to say precise with your precision, but yeah, precise with her techniques, I suppose, or whatever. You know, the fact she can do knitting and crochet and things, I mean, I just cannot do things like that, because they obviously require a lot of, you know, precision. So yeah, we're very, very different in our kind of like not necessarily our methods, but you know, definitely our outcomes, and what we're drawn to. You know, I mean, she's quite into grungy. She loves the grungy thing. She's much more into paints and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I kind of delve into paints every now and then, but they're way outside of my comfort zone. Whereas that's her, you know, that's her go-to, is like, she loves playing around with the paints. You know, that's my, psych myself up, I'm going to have a session with the paints. So yeah, anyway, so I said to her, well, you know, perhaps we could do some, you know, some junk journaling. Would you like to make a journal, you know? And she said, oh yeah, you know. Oh my goodness, it was so weird. I felt really strange. I felt really nervous, because she's always the teacher. Like, she's always been the person teaching me and showing me stuff, you know. She obviously got me into crafting. So I felt really weird, like, showing her stuff. And I really didn't want to kind of like, you know, look like I was telling her how to do things when she had obviously taught me how to do everything, you know, for all these years. So yeah, it was weird. But we had such a lovely time. I mean, we did laugh and said, oh my goodness, we must be getting so old. Because, I mean, when our children were small, so, you know, the last kind of like, you know, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, I mean, we would sit up crafting until like maybe 2 in the morning, you know, like couldn't stop, couldn't go to bed. We were like, oh just a bit more. Oh, we'll just, you know, let's finish this page, or let's do this. You know, because we moved from card making to scrapbooking. And honestly, we said, oh my goodness, look how old we must be, because no word of a lie, it got to about 9 o'clock. I think we must have started at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It got to about 9 o'clock. And we were both like, oh, shall we stop now? Because like, we were getting really tired. You know, we didn't go to bed at that point. We went and then sat, you know, with Neil, her husband, and, you know, socialised with him for the rest of the evening. He'd been playing on, you know, he's like Xbox or whatever, like, while we were crafting. But, or he might have been watching a movie, I don't know. But yeah, we went and sat with him obviously then. But we said, well, oh my goodness, mustn't we be old now? Because we've not even got the stamina to stay up just crafting endlessly. We were like, oh, we have to give in now and go to bed, which was gutting, because we were having such a nice time. And then yesterday morning, we got up, and no word of a lie, and I mean, I never ever do this. I was just in my onesie, she was in her pajamas, you know, Neil was in his dressing gown, and we just sat chatting and, you know, laughing and, you know, reminiscing and kind of saying, oh, do you remember when we went here or did this? Until 12:30. Yep, 12:30, still in our pajamas, you know. I mean, shocking. Yeah, shocking. But oh my goodness, had the nicest time. And then, you know, it was nearly time to leave really, because I left there by 3 o'clock. So we just did a little bit more on our journals, and then it was like, oh, there's no more time now. So yeah, I had to kind of leave. But, and I said to her, oh, you know what, we should have done a video of this, because, you know, obviously you're the lady, you know, you're the person who got me into crafting, and we could have done a video. And, you know, she's brilliant. She would have been up for that, and, you know, we'd have had a really cool time. So said, you know, well, I'm going to come up again in a few weeks, because now I feel like you know, I pushed myself out my comfort zone, and so I'm okay now. I can do it again. Whether or not I will feel like that in a few weeks, or whether the, you know, oh, I can't do that, will set back in, I don't know. But I mean, hopefully I'll stay like that, and I'll be able to go up again in a few weeks. And I said, oh, well, when I come up in a few weeks, we'll do a video, you know, of us kind of making something. So I don't know what we'll make, but yeah, we'll do a video of that. And she said, oh yeah, cool, you know, that would be really fun. So yeah, we're going to do that, hopefully. But yeah, it was just so weird, because I was like, oh, I feel really nervous, because you've always been the person teaching me in the past. This feels really like wrong, you know. But oh, we had such a nice time. And yeah, I mean, we just said, wow, I mean, it feels like literally, you know, no time's passed whatsoever since I last saw you, or, you know, since we last saw each other. And yeah, just lovely. And obviously, you know, when I got home, she just messaged me and said, you know, it was so lovely to see you, and I hope you got back safely, and said, you know, thank you for having me, had such a nice time. And yeah, said, you know, definitely I will come up really soon. And when I went to the gym this morning, it was so much what the doctor ordered, you know, like, I mean, obviously I love, you know, I love hanging out with the kids and, you know, all that stuff, but to go away and just be just grown-ups kind of thing for the weekend was so nice. And, you know, just be away from, you know, from my house and from everything else, and just, you know, yeah, I mean, Neil said, you know, oh, it's like a little holiday for you, you know, like when I said, oh my goodness, you know, we're not even dressed. And he said, oh, you know, it's like a little holiday, it's fine. And yeah, it was just so nice, and I felt so awesome this morning, you know, like I just had such a nice weekend that I thought, oh, I'm feeling completely refreshed and completely like, yay, you know. Obviously then I squandered my time, because, you know, I had like washing to do and all of that kind of stuff. So actually, like, then got gradually more and more disorganized, hence it's quite late now that I'm doing my video. But yeah, just had such a nice time. So I was so looking forward to sharing with you, you know, what a really nice weekend that I had. So yeah, I mean, those friends, they just come along so rarely, don't they? And I'm just going to kind of like flick through, because I've obviously cut these in half rather than really bore you, because I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to just fold, you know, one of each design, so that, you know, all my pieces don't just look the same, which I should have really probably done all along, because I've been busy waffling, and yeah, they're now, you know, now probably going to be running out of time. Not that I can actually see how long I've been filming for, but anyway, so we'll just do one of each pattern, and then I'll finish the rest later off camera. Yeah, I mean, I just think, wow, those, you know, those friends who are just like, you know, those friends for life who, you know, you just gel with so much, you know, they really don't come along that often. And you know, when they do, it's so special, isn't it? And yeah, that's just honestly how I felt. You know, this weekend was like, wow, this has been so, you know, so nice, and just, you know, so missed them. So yeah, it was really, really, really nice to see them. So yeah, it was like, you know, my highlight of my week. So, well, my highlight of my month so far, my highlight of the year so far. So yeah, it was really, really nice. So then I, you know, got home, couldn't wait to see Bo. I'd really missed Bo. So yeah, yeah. So, and obviously my, you know, my son had kind of looked after her. So, you know, yeah, I'd missed him, you know. So yeah, we hung out last night, we watched a bit of TV together, had a catch up, heard what he'd done, you know, for the weekend and things. My eldest son, he went to, now this is really weird, I mean, I'd never really heard of people doing this, but apparently it's a thing now. So he's 21, so of course, you know, his life's kind of all about having fun, and, you know, rightly so, as it should be when you're 21. So him and his mates for the weekend, they went to Dublin. Now, I mean, Dublin's obviously an island, you know, I couldn't tell you how far that is from here, but yeah, obviously several hundred miles, and obviously it's an island, you know, away from us. So you have to either go on a boat or fly there. But it's up the country, so it's not like, you know, it's not like flush with us or anything. It's kind of up and over. Anyway, I didn't really know this. I'm very rubbish when it comes to, you know, oh, where's the in place to go? I wouldn't know where was the in place to go, but apparently it's all about Ireland these days. So apparently Ireland is like the place to hang out when you're young, or maybe not even when you're young, who knows. But yeah, it's apparently like a really brilliant, bustling, you know, going out place. So he'd said a couple of weeks ago, you know, oh, you know, my mates and I, so it was him and two of his friends, he said, you know, we've booked a flight to Ireland. He said, we're literally just taking our phones, wallets and keys. That's all they were taking. So they booked the flight for, I think he said 12 o'clock on Saturday lunchtime. No, yeah, 12 o'clock on Saturday lunchtime. It's only like an hour's flight. And then they'd not booked a hotel or anything like that, you know, didn't take a change of pants or, you know, underwear or any of that stuff. And then they just came back at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So they literally went out there just to, you know, to go out for the night. I mean, like the whole night, you know. So yeah, that's what he did for the weekend. So they had a brilliant time. I mean, obviously he was feeling the worse for wear, so, you know, yeah, he was kind of asleep then for, you know, the rest of the day, you know, or certainly in bed for the rest of the day. Yeah, I mean, he said they had a brilliant time. He said it was probably the best night out he'd had, you know, like, I don't know whether it was the best night out just because it was Dublin or whether it was because the excitement. Obviously, they'd gone on a plane. But he said everyone was so friendly there and it was just so good fun. And yeah, he said it was brilliant. Now, he went in. Oh, gosh, I can't remember this guy's name. I'm going to get it wrong. I feel like it might be Ewan McGregor. Could be wrong. So I apologise if anyone has heard of this person or, you know, heaven forbid, knows this person and I've got his name wrong. But he is the MMA, like, champion. I don't know whether that's world champion or UK or I don't know, I'm afraid. But yeah, MMA, that's that mixed martial arts thing, isn't it? So for anyone who'd not heard of that, because I think it's like a sort of newish thing. So he is Irish and he owns a restaurant out there. So a restaurant and bar type thing out there. Now, I don't know whether you can go in there, well, obviously you can go in there, but his like belts, you know, like the gold belt, you know, the like the boxing champions and all that win. They are in those restaurant / bar, you know, that restaurant / bar place. Now, I don't know whether my son meant they're just like hung around and you can like pick them up. But he did say his mate was kind of like, you know, having loads of pictures with it. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know whether you have to like get the bar staff to kind of get the belt down for you to touch it. I don't know. Anyway, so he had lots of pictures with the belt. And then, so this friend of my son's, he absolutely loves this. I think his name's Ewan McGregor, but to be honest, I might have got that wrong. And I really should have like Googled it before I started talking about him. But anyway, whoever this person is, he happened to be in the restaurant having dinner with his parents. Wow. So they actually managed to have a photograph with this chap and, you know, speak to him. And yeah, they said he was really nice and really friendly. And yeah, how cool is that? So very, very, very exciting. So yeah, anyway, so that was, you know, sounded like a really fun and exciting night out, didn't it? So yeah, that was what my eldest son did. So honestly, I mean, I laughed, you know, with my friends, you know, Neil and Jan, and we were saying, I mean, oh my goodness, how weird is that? I mean, how different has life become? You know, I mean, when we were young, I mean, I don't really know, I don't think there were really budget airlines like that for a start. So I think his flight was like £30. So, you know, to be honest, it was like no more, like he said, than just paying for petrol and parking, driving somewhere for the night. So yeah, £30 for his flight. And then, you know, I mean, obviously they spent quite a lot on drink when they were there, you know, and they'd had a meal and, you know, all this stuff. So, I mean, it was a, you know, pricey night out, but, you know, he'd obviously had a brilliant time. But yeah, we were kind of saying, you know, I mean, you wouldn't have done that when we were young. I don't know whether partly that's just because there weren't budget airlines, you know, that wouldn't have been a thing you could do. Obviously, the internet was kind of in its infancy. So, you know, like the ability to actually book things and find out about things wasn't quite as it is now. So, you know, I guess that would have been a bit more limiting and restrictive as well. But yeah, anyway, how exciting is that? I mean, very, very cool, isn't it? To be able to actually go like completely to a different, you know, different place on an aeroplane, like, you know, for a night out. So yeah, anyway, sounded very, very exciting to me. So yeah, that's what he'd done. Trying to think what else we've been up to. So Natalie obviously came to work last week, and yeah, she hadn't kind of been over Christmas and things, and then she'd had to do some extra days, you know, in her kind of like, you know, her main job. So she'd missed her first week, you know, back with me, because she was obviously, you know, doing her sort of main job. And yeah, so she got to me last week, at the end of last week. So that was really great. We were kind of productive. She posted out lots of orders and things, and yeah, so I apologize that there was a, you know, bit of a delay on the order posting, but yeah, she's posted those now. So thank you so much for your patience. We haven't got to emails yet, because obviously by the time that, you know, we'd done all the things we needed to do, packed up stuff, and then she posted it and all of that, there wasn't time to get to the emails or anything, because we do them together. So yeah, she is coming again this week. So I mean, unless obviously she has to do extra hours in her, you know, her main job. But yeah, so thank you so much for your patience to everybody who, you know, have placed orders and you've been waiting for them. That's really appreciated. So that was that. I did say that I was doing a restock in my, you know, my website. So yeah, I've put quite a few new things on there, including some more of my mystery junk journal packs. So they are on there. And again, I will try and do a restock video. I know I did touch on this last week. I feel like people don't want to see me constantly doing restock videos. So, you know, I feel a bit awkward doing them. So I really apologise. But that being said, I do realise that on the other hand, you know, people probably like to see things in the flesh really, or not in the flesh, but, you know, properly moving rather than photos of things. So it's a kind of double-edged sword really. And, you know, I don't know, let me know in the comments below. I mean, I'm a shopper, you know, I like shopping, and, you know, if someone's got a restock video or anything like that, I like it, because I like to see what stuff they're offering and, you know, what they've got, and is it anything I might like. So yeah, instead of feeling awkward, are you guys actually, you know, are you like, oh, exciting, she's got new stuff? You know, let me know below, because it's just one of those kind of like, yeah, tricky things that, you know, I just could do with knowing, you know, do you guys like the restock videos? You know, in which case I don't need to feel awkward about doing them, is really where I'm coming from with that. So yeah, let me know kind of, you know, what your feelings are on that. Right, here we go. Oh, I bought my sons some new socks and things, so new socks and pants, because yeah, they kind of needed them. They probably won't appreciate me saying that, but hey, they never know, because it's not like they listen to my videos. But yeah, bought them some new socks and pants because they kind of needed some. Right, there we go. So we can now coffee dye. Now I wish that I could see my camera to see how long I've been filming for. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to see. Might be 49 minutes. So obviously I'm not going to get time to do much more, you know, on these, like as a bulk lot. So I'm just going to coffee dye one or two, just to kind of like, you know, show you the one or two, you know, coffee dyed. So now you probably notice I have just coffee dyed, you know, the inside. I haven't bothered coffee dyeing the outside of the couple that I've done. Now that's because the papers are, you know, more vibrant, so I haven't bothered. If they were a paley, you know, paley paper, I possibly would have coffee dyed the outside and the inside. So for example, this one, maybe I will coffee dye both sides, because obviously the paper is, you know, the image is sort of paler. So, you know, if you were wondering, well, why is she only coffee dyeing the inside, that's the reason really. So okie dokie, then just, yeah, do that one, and then just a little bit on here. Okay. Right, there we go. Oops, not done a very good job of that. Need to get back onto my healthy eating. My eating has been absolutely appalling, I have to say, like for ages. Yeah, can't lie. I should have rounded my corners before coffee dyeing, because obviously the punch doesn't really like going through when the paper's soggy. So obviously I won't, you know, I won't round those corners or anything now they're soggy. But that's obviously those. Now let's decorate one up. So, and this is the point where I'm going to obviously show you the, you know, the closure mechanism. So I will obviously be finishing these in slow time. So let's just quickly count up how many we've done. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's probably a record for any mass make. I don't know as I've made 24 of anything, to be honest, before. So, wow, feeling like really, oh my goodness, I've made 24 of something. That's like amazing. Admittedly, they're far from finished. So I don't know why I'm feeling so chuffed with myself, but yes, I shall finish those off later. Right, so I also pulled in a couple of things, you know, before the video. I just got them ready and prepped, just so that I had some stuff ready to decorate with. So just squish this down again. Like I say, this is from my perfume, you know, papers that I'm going to be putting out. So I've got some of my bright roses, which we could use to sort of brighten this up and cheer it up, or we could use, you know, something like that. I mean, oh my goodness, doesn't that look yummy? I love it, absolutely love it. So this is from my Great Expectations. This is obviously my bright roses. So I'm just going to ink this round, not really because it needs inking, because obviously the ink, you know, probably doesn't really show overly much. I'm just inking it to cover up any shoddy cutting that I've done, really. And the same with this. I'm just going around because if I've, you know, got any white space, you know, white bits, it's just covering that up. So there we go, like that. Oh, I'm so chilly again. You know, like I'd got to a point where I thought, oh, perhaps I don't feel so bad, but yeah, I'm getting a bit chillier again now. So right, okay, so I guess because I've been sat here for quite a long time now, so you know, whereas I'd kind of been busy and putting the washing on and stuff, and so when I first sat down I was a little bit warm still from doing things, but now I've been sat here and getting a bit cold again. So yeah, do we want to have some lace on there? I mean, that looks very, very, very pretty, doesn't it? So I'm just going to cut the lace down. And obviously, again, if you're new to, you know, to these mass making sessions, you know, I often say, I mean, generally, I quite often don't really decorate the mass made things until I come to use them, because then I can, you know, tie them in and tailor them to my, you know, the projects that I'm putting them in. So the journals that I'm putting them in. But I just like to decorate one or two up just to give you some, you know, some ideas of how they're going to look decorated, really. So yeah, I mean, that's very pretty, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, we could keep this quite brown, you know. I mean, perhaps I shouldn't really be adding the bright rose. Perhaps we should have gone with this just completely, you know, completely colourless, but just using my Fabri-Tac glue to glue this down. Like that, okay. There we go. Okay. Right, oops. Right. Oh, and thank you so much to anybody who's placed an order recently, either on my Etsy shop or my website. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, especially obviously if you've gone over to my website, you know, when I haven't done a restock video or anything, I really appreciate your thinking of, you know, remembering it and going over and having a look. So, yeah, thank you so, so much. You know, I really appreciate your support because, you know, it does make all the difference, you know. It really does. So thank you so much. Right, so what I would do is if I want to have like the rose on there, let me just check that I do. I mean, it's nice. It is nice, isn't it? Colourless, or, you know, just in the browns. But I think this kind of lifts it, which I really do love. So what I'm actually going to do is I think glue this onto the rose first. So I'm just going to bring my fabric tap back in. And yeah, just going to glue this down. Oops. So sorry, I just checked that I'm in frame. My camera is yeah, I'm not able to find a very good position for my camera at the moment. I'm struggling to, you know, to get it in a good position. It keeps kind of slipping, you know, the tripod thing, it keeps slipping. I don't know whether it needs, I don't know. I mean, I've tried to tighten it up. I don't think I can. Maybe I need to get, you know, my son or someone to look at it because, yeah, it's very annoying. Right. So, yeah, we've got that one on there like that. Yeah, I mean, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And then I'm just seeing whether I might need some more lace just poking out at the bottom of that. I mean, don't necessarily, but yeah, let's just try a little bit just in case. Oh, I think we do. Like, honestly, I just love lace so much that, you know, kind of, it's just one of those things. And I've said this for years, but, you know, it looks fine. And then you try the lace and it's like, oh, it looked really boring before, and it just looks so much better with the lace. So yeah, instantly the lace, you know, it brings it up to another level, doesn't it? Oops, just open that like that. Okay, so obviously inside, like I say, I mean, I have coffee dyed that, but obviously if you wanted to put, you know, like a sheet of coffee dyed paper or like fly sheet or anything, you know, actually glued down, you could, particularly if it was patterned paper on the inside and, you know, not journalable. Or you could put like a flippy pad or something like that, you know, lots of different options. So this is just some fly sheet, you can see. I mean, it's even pretty, you know, what's the word? Screwed up. Yep, screwed up. Not really a struggle for a word, but anyway. So I'm just going to fold it in half like this. Okay, and then just, yeah, bring it in here on this edge. And to be honest, you know, I'm just doing 2 sheets. Whoops. I'm just doing 2 sheets because, you know, if you bulk it out too much, it's not going to want to hold closed very well. So again, you know, play around, but sometimes, you know, you kind of, you know, you learn over time that actually, you know, sometimes less is more, because otherwise you could just go and struggle with your pieces closing, especially if your closure is just like a paper piece like this. It's, you know, it's not robust enough to hold it if you've got a lot of bulk going on in there. So that would go in there. I'm just going to then take this up a little bit. Okay. Oops. If I can just tear this so I've got a nice edge. Oh my goodness, not made a good job of that at all. So just do that a bit. Again, you know, I quite like those sort of little rough edges, so, you know, no drama really if it's you know, if you've kind of, like me, made a mess at the edge. So I'm just going to hot glue this one in. and again, just for no reason other than speed. So I'll just, yeah, pop that in. I've popped it sort of near the creased edge like that. Okay. Oops. Oh, now I've torn the paper. That's not good, is it? So again, I mean, if you tear the paper, you can always just, you know, just ink it, or, you know, just coffee dye it again. So that's that piece. And then this is going to close like this. Now, what I like to do, if I'm using one of these paper closures, is put it where you know, where you need it to be to act as a closure. So like that. And then this is what I like to do, is open the flap with your piece of paper in place as it's going to be for the closure. Can you see that? And then turn that over, and then you can see exactly where your glue needs applying. So otherwise you're sort of guessing where your glue needs to be. So I just find this, you know, the best way to judge how far up your glue needs to be. So like that, put it down. And then, you know, you might need to move it just very fractionally because maybe it's kind of like gone wonky or something. But, you know, on the whole, it's going to be then exactly the right place. And your glue isn't going to be like too far up, and you're going to be shutting your flap into the glue or anything like that. Because, oh my goodness, the amount of times that I have glued pieces in together, you know. And then there's no coming back from that. You know, you try and tear or pull them out and it just tears the paper. I mean, there is coming back, you know, it comes out. But then you've got a torn edge to have to, you know, make up for. So this is just a really good method for gluing it in. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of my Diamante bling. So just holding this down. I mean, again, in hindsight, I probably should have done this with the hot glue gun just for speed because I'm doing a video. Obviously, in, you know, in real life, you could do this. You can then just put like a heavy, you know, a book or something on there just to press it down. Obviously, I can't really do that whilst I'm filming. But I'm just going to take a bit of bling. And we'll just then try that. Oops, try that on it. Oh, hang on, I've got those little spidery legs coming out. Oh dear. Right. So yeah, maybe a little bit of bling there, I think, at the bottom. So take my hot glue like that. Oops. Like that. Okay. Looking good. So that is my closure now. Now, obviously it's still soggy, so yeah, I need to be careful how I'm opening it. But basically the, you know, the back just tucks in neatly into that closure. You've got a little bit of a flippy pad going on there, just a couple of sheets. And then, yeah, you just close it back up. Again, just being careful because it's not obviously glued down quite. But yeah, so that's it. And I would glue that onto a page on like probably 3 sides, and you'd have a top loading pocket there, you know, to put things into. So I mean, to be honest, they're one of my favourite things to use, and they're another one of those things that over time you just forget to, you know, to use them or to make them. So, I mean, definitely my supplies had completely dwindled of these because it was a couple of years, obviously, since we made these last in bulk. So, yeah, I really needed to replenish my stocks of these. Yeah, so I hope that you like them, and yeah, I hope you have fun if you decide to make some of these. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Obviously, like I say, the perfume papers will be in my shop, might even be in there now, but definitely in the next couple of days. And yeah, I will be hopefully putting even more things onto my Shabbydabbydoodah website during this week. Yeah, and other than that, I would just really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up or leave a comment below. And yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic couple of days. Thanks then. Bye.